everyone, and we are going to be talking about everyday self-care and natural healing with Ayurveda. Ayurveda has a concept of dinacharya. What that means is daily regimen and seasonal regimen. What they call it is a ritucharya. We are going to be talking with Kate O'Donnell. Kate has written a book. She is a nationally certified Ayurvedic practitioner. There you go. Hello, namaste. Finally.
Yes, hello. I guess I needed to restart.
Restart the computer. Yeah, restart the phone. Well, I was just telling our viewers that we are going to be talking about the everyday self-care and natural healing with Ayurveda. And Kate is a nationally certified Ayurveda practitioner. She has written a book. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, because I don't know everything, and then we can go into the questions.
Sure. Yeah, I wrote my first two books are both about Ayurvedic cooking, Amita.
Wow.
Because when I started practicing, food is such an important aspect of health in the Ayurveda system.
Yeah.
And it wasn't useful for me to tell people what foods are healthful for them if they don't know how to prepare them. So yes. I started by writing about cooking. And then most recently this summer, I published a book on self-care. So for all of the daily rituals and routines, the things that we do to take care of our sense organs, to get enough rest. So it's like everything that we do that doesn't have to do with the diet and the food is in the new book.
Got it. So the food was in separate, and this is not including the food. It's just other things, right? That's
right. It's like daily and seasonal routines and what to do when to take care of yourself.
Okay. So let me ask you something. What was your motivation? What got you into Ayurveda? I think that would maybe, we don't want to take the whole talk about that, but just for a minute, if you can just tell us your inspiration for Ayurveda.
Sure. When I was 19, I went to India. I had always wanted to go there and speaking English there. And that was where I started to learn a little bit about Ayurveda. And I also had a lot of parasites. So I needed help in my digestion. So things were very bad for 5 years.
Yeah. Okay.
I started working with Ayurvedic doctors. And once I was healing myself with this kind of amazing system, I wanted to learn, everything that I could about it. So I've been studying ever since. It's more than 20 years now.
So you took some kind of a Ayurvedic treatment while you were in India, like a panchakarma, like that, right? To get you going back again. Wow, that's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So let's talk about some healing foods. In Ayurveda, what are, just on a very high level, our viewers can at least understand. Some of them don't understand what the healing foods are, in Ayurveda, and what talks about it.
Well, it's definitely, there's a seasonal aspect. I think foremost aspect of what makes a food healthy is it in season. So if a food is being harvested locally and in this time, then it is the best food generally for us. So to try to find out I always recommend going to the farmer's market, and you see the food that's actually available in your climate, and you know what's in season, because the farmers don't have things that are in season. And I think that's the main thing. And also there's a consideration also for the energy of our food. And food that has high vibration. So that generally means food that is fresh. Like as close as it is to the time of harvest, that's the freshest. It has the most life energy in it. And then if we prepare our own food, or have, the food prepared in our own home, in our household, that is also high vibration food, as opposed to outside food that comes from restaurants, which is okay sometimes, like as a special treat, but not like daily fare.
Okay. So, this weekend I went to the farmer's market and I saw a big watermelon, and I'm not sure if I'm in California, and I thought watermelons are out. Like I saw mangoes and watermelon, which is very summery kind of a produce, right? So you're saying that, traditionally, these kind of fruits or some of the vegetables are not winter vegetables. So we should try to stay away from that and focus more on the, like the pumpkins and some of the butternut squash or some of the root vegetables that are more common in winter time.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So the winter diet is more grains, more of
Yeah,
the starchy root vegetables, and also more fats that from coconut and nuts and ghee and milk for those who tolerate it, different kinds of dairy products.
so maybe let's talk a little bit about a sample meal, like a single meal or even a menu, like a simple menu for a day. Like you start with in the morning and then we can walk a little bit during the winter time. What would be your recommendation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have to start with a hot breakfast, Amita.
Yeah.
That's right. It's like cold cereal and cold milk in the winter morning is not good. Also to have like fruits and fruit salad if one is in a cold climate.
Yes.
It's not great because it makes the body cold.
I see.
So something like I live in the Northeast, so we grow oats here and wheat.
Okay.
Yeah. So things like hot grains, cereals, like oatmeal, or even if oatmeal feels too heavy, I'll often recommend quinoa. You cook the quinoa with a little bit of almond milk, make it a little bit soupy.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe some maple syrup if you like, and some maybe cinnamon, ginger powder, cardamom, those sweet spices.
Yeah.
And that makes a nice breakfast. If it's people want more, they need more food, they can also add a little bit of ghee or coconut oil, like a teaspoon to a bowl of cereal, or some slivered almonds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. I think that's a big move away from a cold.
Which all of us are used to cold cereal. I mean, I was eating, I don't know, for years and years. I put a box cereal from the box and the milk and then think I'm eating healthy, but that's not healthy, right?
Right, because our digestive fire in the morning it's a little more sensitive because we've been kind of stagnant all night just lying there, so it's great to get up and do some movement first and then have a hot breakfast and to sit down. And then the lunch meal is generally the largest meal of the day because that's when the sun is the highest. That Agni principle, or that fire principle in our environment is strong, which is then mirrored in our stomach. So the digestion's stronger, so we absorb and assimilate our nutrition better at midday. So that's where even something like a thali kind of a meal, or if somebody wants to go big and have a sandwich, with like a locally made sourdough bread, it's a good time for soups, stews. If people take non-vegetarian protein, that's the time to have it in the day. So it could be also like an egg dish or meat, so that sort of thing happens in the middle of the day. And this is what people find shocking, but I'll often recommend if people want to have a treat, like a cookie or chocolate or something, to have it with the lunch meal instead of at night, which makes a very big difference in how we metabolize the food. So it's like I think if our listeners could consider shifting the habit of having like sweet treats at night to having them right after the lunch, it will digest that much better. Yeah.
We all love having sweet tooth at night. That's how we grew up. That's the meals. Look at the Thanksgiving meal. We love pumpkin pie or any meals, right? We love the apple pie. But this is a this is a huge shift in our mind.
It is. I used to wait the whole day to have the sweet, and it's because then you're like looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But I realized that it wasn't digesting well because at the night, whatever we eat can be a lighter meal of easier to digest food, like a dal soup is a full dinner. We put a little more water or broth in it, so it's much easier to digest. Because all we do after dinner generally is lie down and go to sleep. So we're not really metabolizing the food. It may sit heavy in the gut and it may not completely digest if we have something like ice cream or cookie or a lot of meat, late at night. And so the ideal time for dinner is around, I would say, 6 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah. Also a big change for some.
Yes, yes. All the restaurant business, definitely, if they go Ayurveda, they'll have to be.
I'm always there at 5 o'clock. I go to a restaurant at 5 o'clock. It's like, it's myself and the elderly. We're the ones who go at 5.
Yeah, yeah. It's a huge shift for the millennials, you know, when they start eating like late at night and they want to go to the bars, but now it's telling them to shift here. It's a huge shift. Yeah, no, I think so. Let's if you can share some, you know, Ayurveda pantry would be so different what you're talking about than our normal pantry. So maybe a few items that we should have for you know, in our pantry.
Yeah, a big part of the diet is grains and legumes, and specifically the small legumes like lentils, especially red lentils, and mung beans are the one that might be less familiar to some of us.
Okay.
But mung beans are, it's said in the Ayurveda text that mung beans are the best of all of the beans, and they digest well and they don't cause any imbalances in the digestive tract. So I definitely recommend getting mung beans into the pantries, and especially the split yellow mung bean, because that one cooks very quickly and makes a beautiful yellow colored dal soup, which is one of my favorite foods. And it's so easy, you know, it cooks in like 30 minutes. Whereas the other beans, you know, a lot of people get turned off about how long it takes to cook them.
Yeah.
And red lentils are another one that should definitely be in the pantry. They make a wonderful dal soup as well. You know, you can also make stews and use a sweet potato and coconut milk and make these really like thick and satisfying soups with the lentil and the mung bean.
So you put vegetables also in it. Like, let's talk about a dal that would be useful for U.S. cuisine, not from the Indian cuisine. So you would, what kind of vegetables do you put? Butternut squash in the?
I do, yeah.
Wow.
One of my favorite recipes is the red lentil and a can of coconut milk.
Okay.
And I'll take a butternut squash, I cut it in half, and I bake it face down in the oven. And then, you know, you can have this very big squash, and then you just leave it in there for an hour. You pull it out and just take a spoon and you scoop the flesh from the and then you can do all these things with that butternut. So I'll put all the squash in the pot with the lentils boiling in the coconut milk, and then I add some fresh ginger and maybe a little bit. It depends if people want to go towards the a lot of the spices are an important pantry item, because the spices they increase our digestive capacity, you know, and help us break down food, and therefore we get more nutrition from our food. We don't eat as much because we're getting more nutrition from what we do eat. So I might add something like coriander seed and cumin seed to a soup like that. And I will sometimes dry roast them and grind them fresh. Sometimes sometimes I temper them in a little ghee, the whole spices, and then I add them into that soup. And so that's what makes the nice flavor. The fresh ginger, little cumin, little coriander.
Yeah.
The other theme I like to do with that soup, especially in the evening, is I'll go with cinnamon. So I'll do ginger and cinnamon and a tiny bit of nutmeg. Or if some of our listeners have pumpkin pie spice in their tent, that actually works really nice in that.
So cinnamon would be ground cinnamon, like a powder, or just the stick cinnamon powder?
I find if I try to use the stick in a soup, all the dal gets stuck inside the stick, and I like to I'll use that for a tea. But if I'm making a edible, I just use the powdered cinnamon. Yeah.
Powdered cinnamon and nutmeg, you said, like.
Yeah, and fresh ginger. You got to put the fresh ginger in that soup. And it also, because coconut milk is a little bit heavy, a little on the fat side, squash is starchy, and then there's all this protein from the lentil. That ginger root really gets the fire going and helps digest that soup, and is also delicious.
Yes. Well,
spicy. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried the coconut milk with the lentil, what you're talking about. But I'm going to try that, and the butternut squash, what you're saying. I mean, that sounds so yummy. What the way you're describing, and putting the ghee with the a little bit of a crackle, right? The crackling sound, and then put it in the dal. Oh, that sounds really yummy. That sounds really good. So yeah, so other thing, maybe you can tell us, beside the food, Ayurveda also talks about some of the other regimen. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that for a minute or so.
Sure, yeah. A lot of it's called the dinacharya, which is like a daily routine.
Yeah.
And a lot of those practices are about purification, and they happen in the morning. So for
Okay.
the ideal morning routine is the thing we do before we take any food is to scrape the tongue.
I see. Scraping the tongue.
Scraping the tongue, and that removes kind of some maybe undigested matter from the day before. So we scrape the tongue and we drink some hot water, which kind of like melts mucus and cleans the pipes, and increases the digestive fiber and the peristalsis. It kind of gets the digestion going. So those, I think, that could change someone's life just to wake up and do tongue scraping and drink.
Wow.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
scraping the tongue.
Yeah. Our stomach, if you think the stomach, if something is in the stomach and it doesn't digest well, the body wants to get rid of it. And the body gets rid of toxins while we're sleeping, which is why morning is the time,
Yeah, and then you need to scrape that out in the morning.
Exactly.
It accumulates. Wow.
Exactly. And I think, if people want to try, they can even just use a spoon, like a teaspoon, and you can see coming off on the spoon, it looks like a whitish mucus. And if you think, like, I didn't have to digest that first thing. I pulled it out of the body, rinse it down the sink. It really makes a difference because your body wants those toxins to go outside. It doesn't want to have to digest, So if you just get up and you have like coffee or tea with milk, and then there's already this little bit of mucus in the mouth, and
I know. Yeah, it's interesting that the Western culture, we are not taught scraping of the tongue, and I actually I ordered it a few months back, like from Amazon, $12, got the 2 boxes. But you're absolutely right, when you scrape the tongue and you got all those things, and I said, oh my God, like you don't even realize that that's sitting on your tongue.
I know. So many of my students, they once they start, they come back and they take the tongue scraper home to the husband or wife. For the children, it's like they want everyone to also clean the mouth like this. Yeah. So that's I think the best first thing in the morning, and then some of listeners might have heard of oil massage. It's a wonderful practice. It really strengthens the body. It softens the body. It's kind of an anti-aging technique. It's a longevity practice.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's great for dry skin and wrinkles and blemishes, and it keeps the skin very resilient. But it also has this effect on the nervous system because the skin is one of our sense organs. And it's largest, it covers our entire body. And so when we apply oil to the skin, it kind of calms. It's like putting a blanket over the skin that is always kind of a little stimulated. And so that stimulation is going directly back into our nervous system.
Wow.
And kind of, needing to digest it. So the oil massages, I do have a YouTube video. People just type my name, they can get
absolutely
instruction. But just to apply like almond oil, sesame oil, or sunflower oil, those are all the and it's done before the shower, which is interesting, right? And then it does pull toxins out through the sweat glands, through the top layer of the skin. And so we oil the body for a few minutes and then take the hot shower. And the hot shower kind of opens the skin and allows that oil to kind of penetrate a little better. And then just kind of soaping the nooks and crannies, and then get out towel dry. And then there's no need to apply any other product to the skin. finish.
Yeah, you've already applied the moisturize, that whole thing. Yeah, that's fascinating, actually. Yeah. Here we are spending all this money on the, beauty market, all kind of moisturizers. Oh my God.
I know, and the oil it actually works the best. Like the
Yeah.
skin becomes the nicest when we find the right oil and we use it a couple times a week. It doesn't even have to be every day.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great practice. When people start doing it, they always come back to me and say they can feel the difference. They just feel a little bit stronger, a little bit more calm.
Yeah.
And everyone, of course, loves like how soft their skin is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. Anything else you'd like to add to this self-care? I mean, these are short interviews, short discussions before we wrap up.
I would just like to add that, anything we talked about today that our listeners, any one little thing, you don't have to do it all,
Yeah.
I would say if there's one thing that we spoke about that to each person kind of hits you and you think, wow, I want to try that, just forget the rest and just do the one thing. Make the soup, break the tongue. And I find that the Ayurvedic diet and the lifestyle, they grow very slowly, like one small thing at a time. And I don't think we need to do it all and live the perfect daily menu or anything, but just to take one small thing and start.
Yeah. It is difficult, like especially, I mean, I am from India, so I have grown up with some of the things. Even for me, I was not doing everything what you're talking about, but for the last 1 year, 2 years, I've started doing, slowly getting into my regimen. But it does make a huge difference, in the energy levels, in overall calmness. What you're talking about, you're just demeanor, you're less stressed. I mean, that's what I have noticed in myself, but you're absolutely right. So to all our viewers, even if you can start with something simple, something basic that Kate talked about, maybe start with the tongue cleaning. Maybe that's the easiest, you don't have to change your diet or start making dals, but tongue cleaning is something that is very easy for everyone to do.
Yeah. And it's immediate result. You see that right away. You say, oh, wow. And it makes you feel like you're really doing some self-care. And it's true. We are. When we scrape the tongue, we're really making a big difference in our digestion, and our detoxification.
That's right. That's it. And then there's also concept of oil pulling, you take, right? That's the other concept Ayurveda talks about as well.
Right. To hold the oil in the mouth and swish the oil for anywhere between 5 and 20 minutes. And that one is really great for oral health, for the strength of the teeth and the gums. It's really good for eating gums. And it detoxifies the body, not only the mouth, when you do it for a longer time, like as much as 15 or 20 minutes.
20 minutes, you squish it inside? Wow.
Right. Yeah. And there are some Ayurveda doctors who will push for 20 minutes and that's the necessary amount of time. But I find that a very long time.
Yeah. I just do it for 30 seconds and I'm
Yeah. I think, 5 minutes I think is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so if we can do anything what Kate is talking about, I think that would make a huge difference. And DMS, send us a message, a feedback. Apologies, there was some technical glitches at the beginning, but we finally got it. So thank you so much for being patient to all everyone. Thank you so much, Kate, for being with us.
Absolutely. A wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.